Hello. This is Takuro Higuchi. I'm from Japan. I deeply participated in anti-nuclear protest after Fukushima. Yeah, due to the limitation of time, what I'm going to speak is not about a big picture of history of anarchism in Japan or general contemporary political situation in Japan, but just a brief introduction of the protest after Fukushima. Yeah, I think it's important to stress out it because you might have a general image of Japanese people like calm and quiet. Yeah, but I think it's important to say that there is a protest, meaningful protest after Fukushima. Okay, so let me start my slide. My English is not very good. If you are difficult to follow my English, the text of my speech is, so you can follow this. Yeah. Okay, let me start. The title of my presentation is Radiation Revolution, Anarchistic Analysis of Anti-Nuclear Protest in Post-Fukushima Japan. Okay, at first, I'd like to examine March 11 disaster and its core problems. The Fukushima nuclear power plant accident is the second largest nuclear disaster after Chernobyl. Approximately 30,000 people died of its accident, and currently around 150,000 people still live in evacuation under government order or by their own choice. Although it was triggered by a large earthquake and tsunami, this accident is a human disaster. It means that an electric company and the national government are responsible due to a series of underestimations, such as that of the height of possible tsunami, the possibility of a station blackout, and the duration of power failure. In addition, confusing and misleading information, and also a deliberate concealment of information occurred. In the background of this, there is an atomic village or atomic circle, a very close relationship among the politicians, government officials, academics, industrial leaders, and the media. Japan has had no true independent regulator of nuclear issues. And this disaster revealed that the Nuclear Safety Commission and the Nuclear and Industrial Safety Agency are subsidiary to the electric companies and the Ministry of Economy, Trade and Industry. This is a basic problem. In response to all these incidents, unprecedented enormous protests against nuclear society have been happening in Japan after the disaster. The picture is a protest in front of the official residence of the Prime Minister held in every Friday evening since March 29, 2012. This is the picture is the biggest demonstration which mobilized 200,000 people in Tokyo. Besides this big demonstration, there are plenty of demonstrations happening every week and everywhere in Japan at the moment. In such a situation, there are also plenty of discourses. Most of them are somehow negative. One of the questions or criticism is like this: what does demonstration change? Is demonstration going to change society? Of course, there are answers. For example, some philosophers say like this: demonstration changes society for sure. Because if you do demonstration, Japanese society becomes a society in which people do demonstration. So I agree with this idea and try to develop it further, especially in the post-March 11 situation. Yeah, with this view, Karatani Kojin, a philosopher in Japan, his comment is suggestive. Demonstration emerged out after a combined earthquake and the nuclear power plant disaster on March 11. I found a hope that the demonstration broke out. The key player to create such opportunity, Japanese youth, like Shiroto no Ran, which means amateurs revolt, Japanese Youth Autonomous Group. They created new styles of demonstration, so I'm thankful to them. Yeah, this is the discourses around the demonstration after Fukushima. Yeah. So this presentation focuses on conceptually prefigurative politics and practically grassroots democracy. Karatani, Japanese philosopher, highlighted one of the reasons people to demonstrate was the transformation of the styles of demonstration. Important to say is the transformation of the narrative of demonstration is behind the transformation of the demonstrations. The prominent feature can be described as a transformation from demonstration as means for the revolution to an end for the revolution. Such a political transformation can be theorized in terms of prefigurative politics and practiced as grassroots democracy. But you can skip it. Before moving to actual description of current demonstrations happening in Japan, let me roughly point out the anarchistic viewpoint of democracy. For its purpose, examining how democracy has been conceived of historically is significant. According to David Graeber, democracy is historically conceived of the state that political question, which is usually centering upon elites, is open for everyone, and is improvised as a style of self-organization in the absence of a nation-state, which is usually unstable, boisterous outbreak of factional dispute or rumor, danger of autocratic rule. Those states could be seen in outcast society beyond the state rule. For example, in pirate ship or frontier society, Graeber says that the primordial form of democracy has those features. Okay. So now I start the engaged description of no-nukes demonstration in post-Fukushima Japan with the question, do they contain a radical practice of democracy? Then it mainly focuses on two significant demonstrations. They are called Genpatsu Yamedo Demo, which means stop nuclear power plant demonstration, and Shisho Kantemae protest, which means protest in front of the official residence of the Prime Minister. As I am following, both played significant role in the post-Fukushima political situation. The former was one of the first demonstrations organized after the disaster, and it brought out the series of subsequent demonstrations. And the latter is kind of compilation of these demonstrations. I'll see more in detail. Yeah, I'll see more in detail. Okay. Amateurs Revolt, which is a Tokyo-based precarious youth, autonomous youth community, had constantly organized demonstration for past 4 years, not after the Fukushima disaster. But they usually mobilize from 100 to 500 people, very small. Actually, they organized the first demonstration and 15,000 people participated in. Although the traffic network became chaotic, guarding police had no way to keep orders because of lacking of their numbers due to smaller expectation of participants. The organizers had also no ways to control such big numbers, and more than 90% of participants were the first time to be in the demonstration. It means that no one can keep the order of the demonstration, and it continued with lower level of control. The way to mobilize people at the demonstration on 10th April had a big space for spontaneity, is one important reason. Okay, on 11th June, exactly 3 months after the disaster, another demonstration was planned by Amateur Revolt. There was another action plan, which was the idea to take the square. Probably this was partly because Amateur Revolt was inspired by Puerta del Sol Square since 15th May in Madrid, Spain. And of course, the symbolic images of Tahrir Square in Egypt were in their mind. Thus, they decided to take the square in front of Shinjuku Station, city center in Tokyo. And Amateur Revolt organized a demonstration in Shinjuku, and it terminated at the square in front of Shinjuku Station. The square was finally filled with 20,000 people. This was a moment Genpatsu Yamado Square, which means no nuke square, emerged. This is happening 3 months after the disaster. And after the success of Genpatsu Yamado Square, no nuke square, Amateur Revolt also planned to take the square again in September 11th. They planned to do a demonstration in Shinjuku in the afternoon and take the square in front of Shinjuku Station in the evening. However, 3 weeks before the demonstration, the big white fence surrounding the square appeared. It simply meant the revenge of the police. Whose prestige was completely lost by the emergence of no nuke square in June 11th. In addition, in the day before the demonstration, the police suddenly changed the course of the demonstration, which had already been applied. As the organizers had no way to do, they unwillingly decided to do demonstration and change the course and try to stay at the square surrounded by the fence. Then demonstration started and the police arrested 12 people for nothing. September 11th became the day of historically significant large-scale operation in Japanese context. Okay. What a key player of the demonstration in Amateur Revolt in the post-Fukushima situation did after a series of severe police operations was what they do was stopping the demonstration. In the first place, Amateur Revolt was just a mix of unidentified autonomous youth. But once they organized a couple of mass demonstrations, they became a central target of the police operation. Thus, Amateur Revolt decided to escape away from the authority control by stopping the demonstration. However, after half a year from the disaster, there were already plenty of small demonstrations that have been happening in each cities by each small organizers in every weekend. Many of these demonstrations were inspired by a series of mass demonstrations organized by Amateur Revolt. Then, after diffusion of Genpatsu Yamado demo, no-nuke demo, decentralized situation of small demonstrations actually appeared. For example, demonstration of green NGO, Twitter demo, drum demo, very local demonstration, and so on. In that situation, a coalition of each small organizers of different demonstrations was made. The coalition is called the Metropolitan Coalition Against Nukes. That coalition opened the next stage of anti-nuke protests in post-Fukushima Japan. After the 1 year mooring demonstration, the coalition started a Shusho Kantei protest in front of official residence of Prime Minister since March 29th of 2012. Although it started with only 300 participants, it gradually attracted more people following with the worsening nuclear policy in Japan. Crucial incident was the restarting of 2 nuclear reactors in July 1st under a situation that the actual condition of nuclear disaster remaining unclear and more than 80% of population stated against restarting nuclear reactors. People flooded into the protest in front of the office of Prime Minister, and 200,000 people showed up in the maximum occasion. Regulation line of police collapsed because of flood of people, and the street was liberated 3 times. Yeah. As the situation is going on, this is very difficult to conclude. So lastly, let me list up some discourses around the current situation instead of the conclusion. There is a certain discourse like what happened to the political situation in post-Fukushima Japan, especially around the demonstrations. What happened was the eruption of disorder, outrage, and rupture, and it continues saying that the primordial form of democracy is just a society filled with chaos. And there is a certain answer, and I like it. Saying no, it is because you can feel a sense of power with all these situations. In other words, there is a hope. Some other one says doing demonstration is prefigurating the world you want to live, and this is what democracy in post-Fukushima Japan is experienced. Let me finish with this citation. Thank you for listening.